All right, thanks everyone for joining. I'm AJ Davis. As Lori said, I'm the co-organizer for this meetup group. While we're officially the Austin Ecom and Retail Group, we are now like across the country, and we've got some folks globally as well. So we record all our sessions, we'll post them on YouTube, and so we'll get some good rewatches that way. Please take a second to introduce yourself. Either feel free to unmute and say hi, or you're welcome to use the chat to let us know what your store is or what you do, drop in a link. It's a chance not only to learn from what we're going to talk about, but really for people to connect and find some help or find things that they're needing insight on. I run a company called Experiment Zone, and we're an agency that helps with conversion rate optimization and user research. So solving the problem of how you get those visitors that you get all that work for to get to your website and helping them convert into customers. Lori, do you want to reintroduce yourself now that we have the recording going?
Oh, hi, I'm Lori APPLEMAN. I'm the other co-organizer of this group. I am also the co-founder and now the owner of Redline Minds. We're now a Knoxville, Tennessee based e-commerce focused agency. I've been in this industry for more than 20 years, and some of you have met me on Facebook because I'm all over it. And I recognize some neat names. Adam, I don't think I've met you personally, so it's kind of neat to at least meet you virtually. He's also one of the people who seems to, for the most part, actually know what he's talking about, which is really refreshing on Facebook. You should try the SEO groups if you want to see people who don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, I guess a really good question for you is so there's a basic equation to e-commerce: traffic times conversion rate equals revenue. So, and I think, am I missing the third piece of that? Some days lately, my brain is just not here. Anyway, you can eat.
Lori, I think AOV would be what I would add
AOV.
to that, right?
That was the third one.
Each order. Yep.
The size of each order. So if you grow any one of the three, you increase your revenue, which is great. And, you know, considering how much work or cost it can be to draw in more traffic, and you do never, ever stop drawing more traffic, because even if you have a completely subscription site, there's always attrition. So you do need fresh blood. But the more you can make off a single customer, the easier it is to expand your company and grow. So today, the topic is mostly about ways to convert more of your store visitors and how to use your own store and data to kind of figure out how to do that. So with that, I guess let's go around the room and introduce ourselves. I know we've got some store owners here who are brave enough to subject themselves to critique. So anyway, I guess, John, you give us, you've actually done it, but let's go ahead and do it again for everybody else.
All right, my name is John. I'm currently residing in Austin, and I work for a startup called Retail Aware, and we help brick and mortar spaces get the same type of info that e-commerce websites currently get. We try to get information on shopper behavior from when someone enters the door to before a sale.
Very cool. It's kind of scary to think that local brick and mortar might be catching up to e-commerce in terms of being able to manipulate their operations to convert better. So by understanding their customers without a loyalty card. So that's pretty cool. Very cool. Adam, let's talk about what you do.
Hey guys, I'm Adam from IAG Performance. We make and sell Subaru and Ford performance parts and accessories. So we started in 2007. We are best known for Subaru performance. We make about, we build about 2,000, actually a little over 2,000 Subaru engines every year. So that's kind of our biggest part of revenue. 4-cylinder engines that can support upwards of 1,000 wheel horsepower. So those are pretty cool. And recently we just started getting into the Ford market a little bit more. We've been doing some stuff for the Broncos, Raptors, F-150s, stuff like that have been real popular so far. The Bronco market has just been very active.
That's cool. I can't imagine a Subaru with all that horsepower. But then there's a Ford Focus, or was, that
Yeah.
was kind of a little screamer too, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's people do all kinds of stuff to their cars, and one nice thing about the automotive performance industry is it's proven to be fairly recession proof, because it's someone's hobby, and people always spend money on their hobbies even if they shouldn't.
Yes,
Heard that before.
yes. Eric, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks for having me. This is my first time to one of these, and I'm new to the group, so it's great to make connections here. I'm actually not affiliated with the storefront, but I'm a former Wall Street analyst that covered publicly traded retail companies, and most recently have worked as a full-time fractional CFO for e-commerce companies. So I'm always interested in learning about parts of the business outside of finance, so that I can better partner with the other C-level folks within the companies that I work with to drive continued financial performance. So looking forward to meeting everybody else and learning something today.
Awesome. Bill, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'd be delighted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody can hear? Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't certain. I'm working off of in a new space. Okay, my name is Bill Greenbaum. I'm from Vancouver, British Columbia. I have a retail store. We're in high visibility and really cool workwear that straddles both practical and fashion forward. Target market is bespoke textile manufacturers, women in trades, framers, people that do renovations. That you'll see some of our stuff on city streets with high vis and people doing with stop signs, and then you'll see some of our stuff in construction. But really, we're after a hipper, newer group of customers. Well, that's the avatar. I have a retail store plus 7 online businesses. We sell on Amazon Canada, Amazon USA, Walmart Canada, Walmart USA, eBay Canada, and a pure play, which is ToughWorks. And we sell our jackets and vests and workwear all over the world. Purpose of joining a group like this is to get the US perspective. Of course, the US is probably the largest of the largest share of our market. Canada's big too on Amazon. And we do very well on those platforms, but it's always great to get a US perspective and reconnect and or connect up with different views. And I think my issue is growth and scale. I've been in the online business. I've been in online retail for 15 years, and I've built 2 companies and sold them. And now I'm on to my 3rd, ToughWorks. And with all these channels and all this growth possibility, it's very exciting. And stick handling that is probably the challenge that those are the answers that I'm looking for.
Cool.
Does that make sense? How to navigate growth to a huge degree.
Yeah, it is getting definitely more complex. I heard this week that YouTube is going to set it up so you can buy on YouTube. So
Sure.
One more channel to distract us and challenge our ability to remain on top. Juju B, nice to see you again. Would you like to introduce yourself again?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Juju B, founder of Body Doubler. an apparel sort of marketplace that connects individuals to their human body doubles in order to help them find better apparel fits. Currently based out of Austin, and just here to meet anyone who's, you know, in the apparel space as well. Yeah, or in e-commerce, just to pick up, you know, tips on better ways to shape our product or go to market. Just learning from overall wisdom of the group here. Nice to meet all of you.
Yeah, still very cool stuff. I'm actually impressed to see so many innovators here today. We really are excited by when somebody can come up with something that doesn't already exist that makes people's lives a little better, or a business owner's life a little better, although business owners are usually people. Anyway, nice to see you again. Chris, and you're one of our victims today.
Hey, I'm new to the group, so be gentle, please.
We will.
But I am in Austin. I work on a couple of different things, but the main thing that's taken most of my time the last couple of years is company and product, I should say, called Chill and Reel. It's an invention that my brother-in-law, who's a redneck fireman who lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma, came up with. And there's a story behind that, but I guess I won't go into that. But started his e-com business during the pandemic, and built it and grew it from there. And we ultimately ended up on Shark Tank a couple months ago. So it's been kind of a fun experience, and just noticed the group relatively recently and thought I'd jump in and say hello.
Well, hello to you. Shanika?
Hello.
Would you like to introduce yourself? Yeah.
Sure. My name is Shanika, and I am here also in North Texas in Austin. The company that I created is called Insta Party Box. It's a one-stop shop for all of your party needs. So it comes with like a balloon arch, a backdrop, all of your plates, napkins. It's all color assorted. And so it just makes it a lot easier for people who are, you know, throwing a party maybe at home, but wants to transform the space and have some good photos and memories that they can create. And so I'm definitely, you know, so now I'm actually looking at building out a directory, maybe an app that will kind of get people's, so like event planners in the area, some of the places where we can throw events in the area. So I'm trying to build out my business and create more value so that I can have more of an audience. So I'm here networking to see who I can partner with.
Those of you who have opted to not show your face, would any of you like to pop on and introduce yourself? Hi.
I'll jump in here. Yeah, I'm it says Jay Kens, which I think is the name of my stupid laptop, but this is Kirby. I'm an inventor turned entrepreneur. I got a dog chew holder that I came up with. So we sell bully sticks for it right now, and live in Austin, and been coming to this meeting for a year or so now, I guess. And yeah.
Awesome. Been nice to see you again. And if you need any models, I don't know if you've met my humble assistant, the Corgi. She's already the personality here. Lynn, would you like to talk about yourself and your company? Introduce us. I don't think we've met you before.
No, hi, I'm Lynn. I'm new. I live in Houston, Texas, and I have a couple of e-commerce businesses. I sell digital products online, and I recently got into handmade jewelry. So that's the business I'm kind of looking at and trying to gather information and from the group to figure out how I can just kind of go beyond just selling the jewelry to possibly putting them in boxes so people can make them themselves at home and have that experience and like like those scrapbook parties and things that they used to have, but it's like jewelry or just whatever handmade stuff.
Wine and jewelry could come up with some real interesting things. Dave.
Hey, nice to meet everyone. I'm based in Austin as well. I work with the startup called Little Data. So if you ever see a problem where your Shopify store doesn't match your Google Analytics, we help fix that. So we use server side and client side data and stitch that together so you get a full picture of your marketing attributions and stuff like that.
Do you create the dashboard too?
We do not create the dashboard. So we have some clients. So we have over 1,300 clients. A lot of brands might use like Dacity or something else. Maybe it goes to Looker, and people create dashboards with that. But yeah, we don't create the dashboards. We're just that data connector.
Yeah, so you're like the API that connects to it and they just export through that way? Is that how you're set up?
So and just forgive me because I just joined this company a month ago.
That's
but
okay.
we're basically a Shopify app, and also you can find our app in BC as well. But from my knowledge, we're just pulling all. It's a JavaScript that's embedded in your client side, and yeah, everything's just being pulled to
Gotcha.
Google Analytics. I'm not
Gotcha.
exactly sure how it's doing that, but yeah, again, we work with a lot of mostly D2C companies.
Cool. Lena?
And feel
did
free
you
to
wanna-
reach out.
Sure. No, just like you just said, the tech aspect. So when somebody gets like that far, I'm like, ooh, so sorry. That's like my forte. So sorry.
Oh, no.
Ah.
It draws interest to me like really quick. So
Oh, great.
Well, I'm trying to create a dashboard, so I actually am trying to figure out some custom connections. So maybe one of you can assist me, because
Gotcha.
the person who said they could do it so far hasn't come through. Anyway, so I guess we're gonna get going.
Yeah, let me get my
AJ,
screen
preference?
shared. I think we're gonna start, let me just go ahead and get this going. We're gonna start with the Chill and Reel site. And the way that we usually structure this is that Lori and I are gonna walk through this and kind of share our thoughts from our expertise, but we invite questions and feedback from everyone in the group. So consider this a group critique. So if you have questions about how it works or how you'd move through the site or feedback, very helpful for store owners. And our goal is to also communicate not just for the store, but more broadly, some themes that come up on store design so that you can take notes and apply them to your own site as well. Lori, do you want to start with the first piece of feedback for the store, or should we start with a little bit of an overview, or should we jump right in?
I can't even talk. Well, Chris, why don't you describe what you're selling? Although I suppose we should be able to tell that by looking. So.
Immediately.
Actually,
Sure.
let's tweak that a little. Chris, could you describe who your target audience is?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, our target audience is, we're selling fun. Okay, so our target audience is a chillin' water person who likes to go onto the lake or float or go on the river, go to the beach, whatever, just hang out, likes to drink, likes to have fun, although it's not just people who drink alcohol. This thing works for all sorts. But as far as a traffic driver, primarily right now is coming from Facebook and Instagram as our primary traffic driver. I should say, except for those for about a month or so, who were driving mostly from the Shark Tank appearance. But and I don't know if you want some more detailed like demographic information, but that's a high level view of who our target is. We get a lot of female, probably 60% female buyers. Are buying as gifts.
That's interesting. Yeah, as gifts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Does that give you enough info? Is that what you're looking for?
I think Oh, go ahead.
I was sorry. One other thing I was going to say is 95% of our traffic is mobile. So this view probably isn't the best view to evaluate, but if you want to go
This
to
is the
yeah.
ugly version of it, but we can look at mobile this way. And
Okay.
you know, one of the things I was curious, you said a lot comes from social. So what are they landing on the homepage? Are they landing on product pages? Like how does the traffic usually move?
I test both, but it converts better when it goes to the homepage.
Okay, great. We'll start there and we'll go through the journey together. We have about 20 minutes to go through it today. So that's how we'll go through
Yeah,
it.
appreciate the feedback.
I'm sure we'll ask questions of you as we go. Can everyone see my screen okay with it set up this way?
Sure.
Okay, great. All right, Lori, do you want to go ahead and start the teardown for the homepage?
Actually, you know, on first impression, I like it. It tells a story. Your value proposition. So your header, which is great, talks about it's the fishing can cooler. So part of me is saying that we don't have I mean, I guess you do have a photograph of the image, but it's not the focus of the image. It's really kind of, you know, over there in the back where it could be missed. And I think that what it doesn't do is tell you why I'd want one. Because I mean, I keep thinking, well, what the heck? It's intriguing, which is great. You know, it's a fishing can cooler. So I think if I'm not looking for something specific, then I'm curious enough to keep looking. And again, you actually tell a really nice story on your homepage, and you've got the social reviews. So I mean, I really don't have any significant criticism in terms of improvements. You know, you might want to make the products more than just product listings and make, since you have such a small catalog, so if they want, they don't have to go further in. But other than that, you know, I think your logo, the tagline is kind of invisible, but that's
And I think building on what Lori is saying here on the homepage, what I like about what you're doing on mobile is that you've got that clear CTA and H1 up here. So I can see really clearly what it is that you're doing. What you're not doing on desktop, but you are doing on mobile well, is kind of peeking up the content from under the fold, meaning, you know, there's stuff to scroll down to. So that would be a note for desktop, is to make sure that happens there as well. But Shark Tank adds a lot of credibility, right? So that's great to see that next. One thing that I think, to Lori's point, would be great to see a little bit more of the product throughout this, and potentially things like surfacing specific reviews from customers. So it's not just like Shark Tank recognizes us, but our customers have a great time too. And the last thought I had about the homepage is you mentioned it's very commonly gifted. So I'd love to see that actually explicitly said. This makes a fantastic gift. And then maybe some sort of, maybe that's part of the testimonial. Oftentimes we feel like these things are implied. And when we go to A/B test things, if it's vague versus direct, the direct language is going to outperform and lead to more conversions. So that would be one of my recommendations here.
That's actually a really strong point. And we've seen this in many, I know I've personally seen this in a lot of cases. People want to be creative and different, and they get so flowery with their language that it isn't exactly clear what the message is. And, you know, if you've ever done any A/B testing in email subject lines, almost always the direct, clear message outperforms something vague. So, and, you know, so I think that especially when you talk about your top real estate, you really want it abundantly clear what you offer and why they should care. So, and you know, I didn't even think about it, but that's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of these giant banners that consume the entire fold, because again, I'm not clear at this point, you know, and I'm at the moment looking at the desktop version. So when I do this, I see shop, how it works, sell CNRs, but you know, what the heck is a fishing can cooler? Because I actually see a cooler sitting there between the black chairs. So I don't think this is as clear. And then they're holding poles, which is kind of the antithesis of what your product lets them do. So you know, I think you have pulled it off a little smoother on mobile, but yeah.
If I
Yeah,
could,
just to, oh, sorry, I was just gonna add a little bit of context, but I absolutely appreciate the comments. There's some really good nuggets here, but just to get a little bit of context, the driver on, like I said, most of the traffic that's coming into the site right now that's coming through ads are video ads that are showing the product in use. They're actually showing people using and having fun with the Chill and Rail, just to give the context. But I understand from a cold entry point, if you didn't have that context, those are great points. So thank you.
And when we do have that connection to what we did beforehand, the best thing we can do is reiterate the same type of takeaway message. So one of the ways that comes up in site design is we talk about like your 3 value propositions, like where it's made, free shipping, free returns, whatever those are for you. And I have yet to see a test where we add it to another part of the journey. I'm not saying necessarily a bunch of times on the same page, but homepage, product page, checkout, where reiterating and reminding visitors of those core things helps them convert. So similarly, you could consider like, what are those core messages they're seeing in that video content before they get here, and making sure those same words match up, because it gives them confidence that the thing that interests them at the beginning is still true as they move through the rest of the journey.
Good, thank you.
This seems like a good site for a live human test, like a usertesting.com or something, where some strangers can perhaps even watch the video and tell you what messages they're getting out of it that would make them click through. And you may find there's some really great nuggets in there.
Yeah, Chris, I would recommend Usability Hub for something like that. You can do some first impression testing or video testing where you can have people answer a series of questions. User testing is great for like seeing the whole journey. So definitely Lori's on point with that too. But if you want to isolate just the video to see those messages, there's some other tools as well.
If
John,
you need
John, I think you were going to say something. I interrupted you earlier. Sorry about that.
Just really simply, I started off the website and I saw a cooler and I thought, first thought was, you're selling a cooler. So that's it.
Yeah. So, by the way, anybody can add in input. It's not the Lori and AJ show.
Could I ask a quick question on the homepage? If you go back to that, AJ, I've had as that kind of hero image, the photo from Shark Tank since we aired, but the one that I've been using prior to that, if you want to scroll down just to get your input on it, is not that one, but keep going, that one. What are your thoughts on that as the top lead-in image?
Let's ask everybody else. What do you guys think?
Well, I'm not loving the photography anywhere. And I think there's lots of room for improvement. I don't think anybody reads. I don't think anybody cares. Nobody does anything anymore. So I think all the messages that have been relayed so far are on point. But I think photography, visuals sell. So I think I think you might need. Is this fellow the avatar? He's the exact customer you want. Well, I think you can find someone, make make the photography, take it up a notch, and I think that'll really help.
Yeah, I think a really high quality product photo instead would probably be a better use of the space, kind of showing maybe that the fishing line comes out from the can cooler, and really just kind of showing how how it's laid out and
Sure.
usable in that way. I think that maybe tells a better story, and then of course you can still have this type of image further down the page,
Sure,
where you're identifying your avatar and doing all that, but the the product, because it's a novel product that no one's heard of before. And again, if they're coming to your site after seeing a video, it's a little bit different. But if you're just coming cold to the site and you've never heard of this before, you don't really know what the product is or what it does. So I think a more direct, just kind of showing in real high detail, the product and the line coming out of it and that stuff would be helpful there.
Chris, one of the trends that we're seeing with product images is to overlay some text or arrows or things to kind of demo what the details are. So one of the things to consider is that balance between what are like lifestyle photos that make you feel like you're using the product or you like want to be this guy out on the water versus the product details, which tells you what it is that it is, versus those detailed overlays, which say like how it works. And we find that depending on the audience, where they're coming from, where in the journey, different images matter more. And that's a really good, important A/B test to run for your specific audience. But I agree with all the things that are voiced, that there's definitely an opportunity to think about those product images more carefully.
I don't know if you've ever heard of the brand Shitty Coolers,
Yep.
but
Yep,
they
for sure.
kind of have a similar sort of avatar, a little bit more on the party side and less
right.
on the on this, but it could be some good inspiration there for for looking at the a similar kind of avatar.
Yep.
GGB, I see your hand up. Do you want to share some feedback as well?
Yeah, my immediate feedback was, is this safe? Because I imagine I'm a very accident prone person. That's why I say that. I'm a little bit like all thumbs kind of person. And so when I saw, when I finally understood what it was, it took me a while to understand it. Like I had to scroll through the different pages and to get an idea of like, what is this product? And then when I finally got it, I was like, wait a minute, if it's me, I can just imagine this line like cutting my finger as it's retracting. I can imagine the hook, hooking on to somebody else, maybe, causing a small child to be thrown in the water. I don't know. I was imagining all kinds of like dangerous scenarios. So I think that if there was a page that explained a little bit about, how it actually works, and how it's not as dangerous as what I'm imagining in my mind. I think that could help.
Oh, I see.
And that may make more of a difference to a woman, which you're saying is at the moment a big chunk of your market. So I think we've all figured out at this point in life that men and women don't always think of the same. So that may be a great example of somebody who isn't you having a completely different approach to how they think about it. And that's just one person, but yeah. Anybody else have some input?
I was just going to add, I feel like some of these details on the product page come a little bit late. I'd love to see some information either portrayed in the imagery. Even this image, it's a little hard to like know exactly how this all fits together. So I think just better opportunity to be like, here's what you're going to get. Here's what fun it's going to be. Here's the safety. And then reiterating that from a broad lens to a very, very specific lens as you get to the product page.
I kind of wonder what keeps you from dumping your drink out while you're trying to reel in a fish. I mean, I thought the way it reeled in was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, those are both the safety thing and the question about don't spill your beer everywhere. Those are common comments that come up, and the fact of the matter on both of them is depends on the user. but you're right. I think it's good to address those questions and those objections up front for sure.
I'm curious how many people take advantage of your offer that you have here of buying 3 or more units. Do you get a lot of people buying multiple units, or is it?
Yeah, people buy them for the for the boat or the lake house, or to give to all their sons or grandsons, or that sort of thing. So they're buying multiples at a time, and this is since we're mostly a single product company, this is one of the attempts to bring up the average order value.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
All right. Well, I'm sorry to cut off.
Reasonably priced. Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut off the discussion here. We do have one more site we wanted to review today. So I hope that you got some good notes today, Chris, about your business and the feedback from everybody. If anyone has any other comments they didn't get to share about this site, please just add it right into the chat as we're moving on to the next site. And this next site is going to be Enact. I don't see Brianna on today, but we'll record it and share it back to her. So we won't get the sort of story from her, but we'll all provide that fresh perspective and understanding of their site. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over. The first thing Lori and I noticed about this is we both hit this security wall. So this might be something new for the site, but definitely something we want to avoid, making people feel like it's an unsafe, deceptive site to be on. But if we bypass that, bypass sort of the security question, we can take a look at the site itself. Lori, do you want to start on the homepage?
So here, I think we also have a photography issue right off the bat. There was a couple other little things I noticed, but now they've done a good idea. I know what they're selling. They're selling a towel. And I think the subject matter is great, but it's also so dark that the human aspect of it's kind of obscured. And it's also got another one of these giant photos that obscures everything below it. So that would be one of my first comments. That, and I really don't like that the store account icon is way over on the left and very high and very small. It's really easy to miss for somebody who's looking for that, as was the search. Now both of these sites are similar in that they're primarily single product stores. I mean, this one's got 4 SKUs, but it's, or 8 SKUs, but it still doesn't necessarily need a search engine. But when you get to the point where you do, hiding your search where people can't find it is a good way to kill your sales. So while it may not be as important on this site or on Chill and Reel, keep that in mind if you have a site with a big catalog, that the bigger the catalog, the more important your search is, and hiding it's not a great idea. Other than that, I think this goes right into the product. The activism and a lot of the story is really far down the page, knowing that as you get down, people kind of give up. So, but
yeah, there's a couple things I like that I think are good takeaways from this store. So I love that they have the free shipping called out in this pencil banner. I wish that stuck with you as you scrolled. We often see that that's like a really important incentive, is either shipping and returns. People are comparing you to Amazon, unfortunately. And so knowing where you fall in that is really helpful, and they're going to forget if they see it high up in the funnel. So reminding them across the board is helpful. They do have the shipping policy and returns here, which is an interesting choice. I'd be curious like what ends up happening with it being in the nav, if it's distracting or helpful. I do like that the products are exposed on this page, but we start to get into some of this multiple CTA business that happens. So a lot of the templates encourage you to have buy now with PayPal, buy now here, buy this, add to cart. And it de-emphasizes the primary action of add to cart, or it confuses it. So oftentimes these are things that are low-hanging tests to try out for your business to know, does it make a difference to prompt that here, or should we give them a really focused path to get to cart and checkout and give them the choice later on? So that would definitely be something I'd want to look at more closely here, is how can we simplify the decision for the visitor to say, okay, I'm ready to get going on this.
Yeah, and again, this type of a setup, for example, this one's dynamic, which is not uncommon. The shared screen says buy with PayPal. I don't like PayPal. If I'm fairly not sophisticated, I may miss that little text link. If I add to cart, does this mean I have to use PayPal? And of course, on my screen, I'm seeing ShopPay. MetaPay is new, but ShopPay, which wouldn't turn me off. But again, not everybody understands why somebody might choose that method. And it can also limit your order size, because if you got one product, it's great, take their money ASAP. But when you have multiple products, you want that average order value as high as you can get it. And I think this button, in my opinion, usually decreases that. So that would be one thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, I have a MacBook, so the size that you're seeing is a fairly standard screen size that someone would be viewing the site on. And you probably noticed that I was clicking through the images and I can't really see all the details all at once. So there's a bit of like a sizing concern I might have about the way this is set up. You know, if I click on this baby picture and I've scrolled up, I can't see it anymore. I have to do a little bit more work on that. So oftentimes this comes up when we go away from that standard format of a product page and then try to embed it. What's the right amount of detail and how do we fit it so it's dynamic based on what screen you're on? Anybody else have any thoughts about this homepage or the navigation?
I've got a comment that is less about design, I guess, and more to do with messaging and content, which is I'm getting a few different messages in terms of what the impetus to buy is here. And so the introductory phrase there, introducing your new favorite hemp towel.
Yeah.
When I read that, it sort of implies that I've already got a bunch of hemp towels and this one's going to be the best, which I don't necessarily think is what this is aimed at. I think what it's aimed at is this is, you know, this is going to be your new favorite towel for a number of reasons, among which is the lower environmental impact from whatever it is producing it, perhaps. And so maybe that introductory message is more something like introducing your and the Earth's new favorite towel or something like that, that draws the reader in to understand, okay, why is it going to be my favorite towel and why is it going to be the Earth's favorite towel? Because I'm getting a little mixed up here when I see that and I think, okay, hemp, but then I go down here and I see on the label that this is saving drinking water. And so I'm not really, you know, I'm not really making the connection between all these themes. So I think maybe trying to take it kind of back up a level and simplify it for the consumer and then find a way to get them to drill down, right, into, okay, why am I going to love this product from the standpoint of comfort, absorbency, whatever that is, and then why am I going to love it if I care about the Earth?
Yeah, I agree. You know, as a towel snob, I want to know it's thick, that it's absorbent. Some of the most expensive towels I've ever bought were Egyptian cotton, and instead they were somehow treated so that they felt slick on the body, like they didn't absorb anything. I want to know it's thick, it's soft and absorbent, and the fact that it's better for the planet is a nice bonus. And I noticed this entire site is so heavy on the activism point, which is something even different. But trust me, I'm not paying $35 for a bath towel. I don't care who makes it if it isn't a really great bath towel, because that's a high price point. So I think we have to emphasize beyond the reviews that this is just a supreme product that also benefits the Earth.
I'd also, just a final thought, I'd love to see the showcasing of as seen on, you know, Good Morning America and Oprah magazine. I'd love to see those above the fold. You know, like it or not, when people see those things, it imparts a level of credibility. And that, you know, it's a marketing thing, right? But you know, there's something about seeing that lends some weight to the brand, and I think that in a way that I think can be very compelling. And so I feel like it's downplayed currently, and I would like to see that emphasized more in some way, but that doesn't detract from the very sort of clean lines that are already present in that top area of the page. So some, you know, maybe design help there would be great to figure out how to achieve that, but I feel like it's undersold and it shouldn't be.
Thanks, Eric. I wanted to just draw attention. A couple people commented that this image at the top that the shoe in this image is distracting, which I thought in a fleeting moment and then forgot about. So I'm glad a couple folks called that out. And then Jujubee also has her hand raised. I'm going to call on her next.
Hi, yeah, so my feedback would be on the actual image of the towel. Like I think in the actual product page, yes, that because it's rolled up for some reason, and I'm a visual person, like it doesn't read to me as a bath towel. I think like, oh, it's probably like hand towel, like because usually see hand towels like rolled up like that. So I feel like if it's going to be a bath towel, like the very first image that people see should be one of like, you know, a person like actually, you know, having this towel wrapped around them. And also another thing about towels is that, you know, I find that they tend to, if they're absorbent, there's this smell issue that comes with it. If it doesn't at the same time also dry quick enough. So with a lot of organic material, especially, I find that even though they may be more absorbent, that, you know, if they don't dry quickly enough, that, you know, you may get the smell of mildew. And I think it's good to address whether hemp is able to overcome this problem. I mean, I'm not sure with hemp, you know, if it does it or not, but if it does, I think that's an added, you know, added quality that could make it stand out amongst its competitors. Yeah.
Hemp is actually a really cool fiber, and I'm a fiber artist, so I actually love working with hemp. And it gets softer with age and washing, which is actually really an important feature in a towel. It also can hold color saturation better. Now this one, and I understand the logic of starting with white and beige on an organic product or a natural product. There it's also the two most popular colors, but you know, it's missing one of the benefits of hemp, which is that if you have a different colored towel, and a lot of people put an enormous amount of effort into their bathroom design, that this is going to hold color better than that cotton towel from Macy's. So that would be kind of a hemp is a really neat fabric, and there's really no discussion here about why it's in hemp.
Adam, did you have a comment to share as well?
Sure. For me on the homepage, I don't like the way that the text is laid out for the product description being centered like that. I find that really hard to read. And in most cases, probably not usually a great idea to lay it out in that way. And then another thing was the product reviews for this product. Yeah, so at the top, there's some review stars. It's showing this is our best product. There's only 11 reviews, and it's 4.5 stars on 11 reviews. Doesn't scream to me like, hey, I want to go and spend $60 on that. I did notice they had another product that had just the single towel, 13 reviews, 5 stars. You know, maybe that one would be a better one to feature on the homepage if you want to use those, you know, those review stars, or just work on getting more reviews, you know, to kind of drive that you know, that overall number up.
One of the balances we've struck with some clients that are earlier in the review collection process is to test whether or not we show them at certain points to the funnel. And the general learning so far is that if you have fewer reviews or kind of mixed reviews, holding off on showcasing that until the product page can be helpful, because you're not kind of dissuading someone. You've gotten them interested in a specific product, then they can click in and read the few that you do have.
Sure.
One of the things that I noticed on the homepage, which isn't true here and also works here, is when you click on it, it takes you to the reviews, but it actually took me to write a review. So thinking about that journey and making sure that when I click on it, it's taking me to the actual reviews so I can read them. That's usually what people are intending when they click on them. Anybody else have any thoughts? Here's the product page on its own if anyone wants to chime in on it.
This one's also got the dual call to actions, which is just super typical on Shopify themes. But again, I would test it or not use it, because this is an instance where if they're looking here, you want them to buy more than one towel. So.
Yeah, I think it's a
Right,
really,
and-
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I noticed that in terms of the options for color, it says bleached or unbleached, and somehow I associate bleach with, you know, toxic chemicals, and
Yeah.
so I don't know if that helps with the sustainability and hemp messaging. I think that's a little bit like in conflict. I think you could just say white or beige, right? I think that could be more helpful.
Yeah.
There also seems to be this story that's getting lost around who's producing the product. So somebody left a review on the homepage that was like third or fourth one in, that was about, I know I'm buying something that's giving back or giving lifestyle, but like to people who are working on this in other places. So I feel like that is a really important message that intersects well with the sustainable towel message, but is kind of getting lost across the board here. So we're seeing a little bit more of it here as well.
Yeah. A lot of times people assume everybody will read all the stuff you've put together, and most of the time they're not going to. So get your key points across as fast as humanly possible, or as early as humanly possible is really the better term.
I think strategically too, there's two things that have come in my mind around towels in particular. So one is I've never bought one towel. I've always buy them in sets because I'm replacing a set or it's for the guest room or something else. So there's an opportunity here to package them in such a way that's about like your set of towels. I know there's one that's like the towel and the hand towel and the washcloth, but something about, maybe there's bulk discounting or an easy way to add for something like that. And then the other one is the tie-in between when people buy towels is like a housewarming gift or maybe when they're getting married. So how can you remind the visitor that if you want to add this to your registry, here's how to do it? Or like this makes for a great gift. And it feels like there's a missed opportunity to say, you've got a friend who's really into sustainability, they're moving in somewhere new, this makes the perfect gift for them.
I also noticed neither site appears to be gathering emails. And even with one product where you may have to be a little bit more creative, there are things you can do with email that will help you drive more revenue.
Yeah, I don't think it was showing, maybe it's because you visited the site before, just talking about ours, but there's a pop-up that happens from both SMS and email, that maybe you dismissed it at some point earlier.
I think I did get one on this one as well, but it was like later on and then we kind of moved past it. What does everyone think about this little focus here?
What is that? That's odd. Are you sure it's not just loading?
I think they're trying to call out the duties and taxes thing. Maybe they've had an issue with.
Yeah, it took a while for the checkout button to show up too.
Yeah, maybe they've had an issue with people not expecting to pay duties or taxes when they receive the items.
Huh.
It's a weird way to call it out, though.
That could also be the fact that this is an insecure site. Maybe that's still your browser yelling at you because it's insecure. I don't know.
It makes me feel like I'm in a user study where I'm like getting my clicks are being recorded and it looks like I'm clicking on that a bunch. So it's a little distracting for me at least.
Sure.
Yeah. And
I also noticed.
I also wonder if, all of that text explaining the duties and taxes, if it could be put on the left-hand side, so it's not clumped up together with the total price. I just think that's really heavy there at the bottom. All of that text lumped together with the price. I think if it were separated, it would feel clearer, what a person needs to do, and just to break up that text a little bit would help.
Yeah, I was going to say when I hit the checkout, it pulls up an upsell, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing, but when I tried to close it and get to checkout, it was massively slow.
Yeah, I noticed
so
that
that
too.
was a little better than what I saw, but yeah. Slow is not a good thing.
And there's a question too of like, what is the right upsell? Is it the set? Is it more towels? Like, is there something that would prompt someone to think that that was what they needed? And so maybe that narrative around like, make sure you've got the whole set for your guests or something could just help kind of paint more of that why for the visitor, in addition to the actual sale or discounting that's happening there.
And I don't like to buy sets that include washcloths. I mean, I realize there are people who use a different washcloth every day. That's not me. So I have enough washcloths in the house to last the next 30 years. I certainly don't need to pay for more, especially white ones. So
I see John's hands raised. John, do you want to share something?
Yeah, not so much on the website, but if I can put my logistics hat on, it seems like they're shipping these internationally from China. And going back to what someone said, you buy towels and sets, and I'm guessing the shipping fees make up a pretty hefty chunk of this. We'll see it when we check out. But then if you're selling sets, that those logistics fees per unit go way down, and so that's going to be really key for them to try to make a much more competitive price point, is to start pushing sets. 4 towels is kind of like the natural set size, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And one of the tests that we've seen have a lot of success is to use the free shipping for orders over 100 and have that dynamically update to say how far you are away from it. And so you could see with a limited selection, like you're 3 towels away, like upgrade your set, something that prompts them to see, oh, I get value now for it. So I could see sort of a couple different, both the UX side of it and then the business side of it for the shipping.
how'd you figure out these are being shipped from China?
I do a lot of business with China. I speak Chinese. I saw they had a certificate on their slideshow, and I recognize the Chinese names.
Ah,
Good
okay.
detective work.
Well, because I'm looking at their shipping policy, and it doesn't tell them when they can expect their product, which is mistake number one.
Yeah.
It should reiterate the free offer, and is that global or only in the US? And 3 days from when I order to even start to ship out my product when it's American made isn't remotely competitive. So I want to know, am I going to see these in time for that wedding I want to give these away at? But and this is where the international customers are responsible for duties. It actually does say that. So.
Well, it looks like
all of that.
we've hit 1 o'clock. So thank you all for making this a really collaborative discussion. I really appreciate everyone jumping in with their feedback. We try to do this at least twice a year. We might be doing it more like once a quarter, because we find that these are just a lot of fun. It's a great way to meet people, and hopefully you're taking away some things for your own site or your own clients that are helpful as well. So if you like these sessions, please give us that feedback through the meetup group. Otherwise, we've got some exciting topics coming up, and we're also planning an in-person happy hour in Austin, likely end of August, early September. So stay tuned for all those upcoming events. Thanks everyone for being on today. Hope everyone enjoyed that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the feedback, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.
Thanks to our hosts.
Be prosperous.